topic, which is microbial carcinogenesis. As I have previously also mentioned that certain microbes are also involved in the certain microbes are also the causative agents for carcinogenesis, and these microbes include RNA and DNA viruses and Helicobacter pylori, which is a bacterium. So let's start with viral carcinogenesis. As you know that viruses are divided into two major categories based on their genetic material. One are the RNA viruses and the other are the DNA viruses. The RNA viruses that are involved in the process of carcinogenesis include human T-cell leukemia virus type 1 in humans. So this is the only RNA virus, human T-cell leukemia virus type 1, which is implicated in the carcinogenesis in humans. But in animals, many retroviruses are shown to be carcinogenic in nature. So let's start with human T-cell leukemia virus type 1. Human T-cell leukemia virus is of two types, type 1 and type 2. Type 1 is involved in the carcinogenesis. It causes human T-cell leukemia, lymphoma. The disease which it causes is known as adult T-cell leukemia lymphoma, ATLL is the abbreviation for the disease. So this leukemia is endemic in South America, Caribbean Basin, and Japan. How is it transmitted? This virus is transmitted through sexual intercourse, breastfeeding, and blood transfusion via transmission of infected T cells. So a person who is already infected with T cells, he can be a latent carrier of the infection, or he can be an active um, carrier of the disease. So in both cases, he can transmit the virus through these three routes. It can remain silent in the patient for many years, and it may cause malignancy after even 40 to 60 years. But fortunately, leukemia develops in only 3 to 5% of people infected with this virus. And this also after a long latent period of 40 to 60 years almost. So what is its mechanism of action? This human T cell leukemia virus type 1, it attacks CD4 positive T cells just like HIV. The primary target of this virus, human T cell leukemia virus type 1, is CD4 positive T cells just like HIV virus. After taking control of the genome of the recipient, this virus expresses the transcription factor FOXP3, which is a marker of regulatory T cells that act to suppress immune response. We all know that regulatory T cells are involved in the function of suppression of immune response. They are there to regulate the immunity. When the T cell response is no longer needed, these regulatory T cells come into action and suppress the immune response. So, the human T cell leukemia virus expresses the transcription factor FOXP3, which is a marker of regulatory T cells. It shows that this virus has brought regulatory T cells into action, which are going to suppress the immune response. Obviously, when the immune response will be suppressed, tumor will progress. It is one of the hallmarks of neoplasia that the immune response has to be suppressed. The human T-cell leukemia type 1 genome contains GAG, POL, and N. These are the three major antigenic proteins which are present in almost all of the RNA viruses, and similarly they are present in this virus also. But it also contains another gene which is known as TAX gene. So this is the gene which is responsible for its carcinogenic nature. TAX gene translates into a protein which is known as TAX, and the major functions of this TAX protein are that it increases pro-growth signaling and cell survival. And how it does this? It stimulates phosphoinositol 3 kinase AKT pathway. As you all must have remembered that these are the proto-oncogenes. So this virus or this protein, which is TAX protein, it's going to stimulate this pathway. These kinases participate in the cascade that promotes both cell survival and metabolic alterations that enhance cell growth. Okay, we have studied that phosphoinositol 3 kinase pathway is involved in two major functions. First, it acts as an oncogene, and second, it also promotes the Warburg effect, because there in the it had many functions in the Warburg effect, the cell neoplastic metabolic alteration pathway. Okay, the second function of this TAX gene is upregulation of CD kinase inhibitors. So, TAX also directly upregulates the expression of cyclin D2 and represses the expression of multiple CD kinase inhibitors. And all these events promote cell cycle progression. Okay, so next function is that it activates NF-kappa B pathway, which leads to increased survival of lymphocytes. Second major function of TAX protein is that it increases genomic instability. We have already discussed about genomic instability. It is any abnormality in DNA repair functions and inhibition of cell cycle checkpoints activated by DNA damage. So, TAX gene is also responsible for increased genomic instability, and its main function is increased pro-growth signaling and cell survival. These two steps make the cell neoplastic in nature. So the overall scenario is, first there is infection by human T-cell leukemia type 1 virus, which causes expansion of a non-malignant polyclonal cell population through stimulatory effects of TAX on cell proliferation. The first step is increase in the cell proliferation due to the stimulatory effects of TAX. Next, the proliferating T cells are at increased risk of mutations and genomic instability due to the effects of TAX and possibly other viral factors as well. This instability allows the accumulation of mutations and chromosomal abnormalities, and eventually a monoclonal neoplastic T cell population emerges. Okay, very simple. First of all, it causes expansion of a non-malignant polyclonal cell population through stimulatory effects of tax on cell proliferation. सेल proliferation जो है वो cell signaling pathways की वजह से increase करती है. Next, what happens? The proliferating T cells are at increased risk of mutation. Obviously, when there is high level of proliferation, the cell division is at a very rapid rate. There are chances of getting mutations more as compared to the normal circumstances. And also, there is genomic instability due to both of these factors. There are chances that the cell will become malignant. There will be accumulation of mutations and chromosomal abnormalities, and eventually a monoclonal neoplastic T cell population will emerge. So these are the three routes through which this virus can transmit infection: breastfeeding, blood transfusion, and sexual intercourse. So what happens? The human T cell leukemia virus type 1 infected cells. This is the barrier of the epithelium through which these cells have passed and infected a patient, infected a new individual. Now these cells will uh, infect other cells wherever they have reached. If um, they have been transmitted through breastfeeding, then they will go to the blood through the oral cavity and then ultimately into the blood, obviously, and there they will cause cell to cell infection. Ultimately, these cells will start to proliferate. There will be TEX gene activation, which will cause increased proliferation of cells, and it will also cause acceleration in the cell cycle progression. On the other hand, it will also increase the genomic instability. But meanwhile, the host immune responses will also be functional and they will be killing the cells. But when the balance is tilted towards the virus side, then there will be unlimited proliferation with genetic and epigenetic alterations and ultimately formation of cancer in 5% of population. Otherwise, that person will become an asymptomatic carrier. If he has a strong immune response, he will become an asymptomatic carrier. Otherwise, he will become a cancerous patient. So this is all the story. This was the only RNA virus which causes neoplasia. Now we move on to the DNA viruses which are oncogenic in nature, and the first one is human papilloma virus. Human papilloma virus has many distinct types. There are low-risk human papilloma viruses, which include type 1, type 2, type 4, and type 7. These are known to cause benign squamous papillomas or warts. Then there are high-risk human papilloma viruses, which include type 16 and 18. These are known to cause squamous cell carcinomas of cervix, anogenital region, and head and neck. Integration of viral DNA is important for malignant transformation. And what this integration does, it interrupts the viral DNA within the E1, E2 open reading frame, leading to loss of the E2 viral repressor. This is a tumor suppressor gene. and overexpression of oncoproteins E6 and E7. तो वही वाला सारा मैकेनिज्म है कि ट्यूमर सप्रेसर जीन्स जो हैं उनका लॉस ऑफ फंक्शन होना है और ऑन्कोप्रोटीन्स जो हैं उनकी gain of function होना है. Overexpression of oncoproteins, these are the two major examples, E6 and E7, and loss of E2 viral repressor. E1 E2 open reading frame क्या है? This is an area of the RNA from which translation is going to take place. ठीक है, आप लोगों को पता है ना कि पहले डीएनए से आरएनए बनता है थ्रू द प्रोसेस ऑफ ट्रांसक्रिप्शन एंड देन आरएनए से फर्दर प्रोटीन बनती है थ्रू द प्रोसेस ऑफ ट्रांसलेशन. तो ये वाला जो है जो आरएनए के डिफरेंट साइट्स होती हैं फ्रॉम वेयर डिफरेंट प्रोटीन्स आर फॉर्म्ड, they are named to different systems. Even E2 open reading frame is one of those sites from where these E2 viral repressors and E6 and E7 oncoproteins are going to be encoded. Now, the site of viral integration in host chromosomes is random. They randomly select the site where they are going to get integrated. But once they get integrated, afterwards their expansion becomes clonal, meaning that once the virus has integrated at certain point in the host genome, after that the same point will be preserved in the dividing cells. जो क्लोन बनेगा उसका उसमें सबके एक ही पॉइंट होगा. So it's a clonal proliferation. Okay, the cells which have the integration of this human papilloma virus, they also show increased genomic instability. All the pathogenesis of human papilloma virus in causing cancer is related to E6 and E7 oncoproteins. E6 oncoprotein के different functions हैं और E7 oncoprotein के different functions हैं. Now let's discuss the oncogenic activities of E6. You can see that it is having two major activities. Most important one is the degradation of p53, and the second function is this red line is showing that p53 is being inhibited or degraded, and this green arrow means that TERT or the telomerase, um, which is a catalytic subunit of telomerase TERT, its expression is enhanced or increased. So these are the two major functions of E6. One is the inhibition of p53, which has several roles in acquisition of hallmarks of malignancy, and increased expression of TERT, which is going to make this cell immortal, or it's going to uh, give the cell the properties of a stem cell. E6 from high-risk human papilloma virus types has a higher affinity for p53 than E6 from low-risk human papilloma virus. Now, p53 is polymorphic at codon 72, encoding either a proline or arginine residue at that position. पॉलीमॉर्फिज्म इसकी क्या है कि जो कोडॉन 72 है उसमें some of the population expresses proline and the rest of the population expresses arginine. So this is the polymorphism that exists in codon 72 of p53. And what is this importance in carcinogenesis? The P53 arginine 72 variant is much more susceptible to degradation by E6. तो ये वाला इसका वेरिएंट है arginine 72. It is more susceptible to degradation by E6. So, infected individuals with the arginine 72 polymorphism are more likely to develop cervical carcinomas. ये वाले जो हैं arginine वाले, they are more likely to develop the carcinoma of cervix. Now we move on to the activities of human papillomavirus E7 oncoprotein. It inhibits basically P21 and RBE2F. Basically, both of these proteins serve as checkpoints, or they are involved in the G1S cell cycle checkpoint. E7 binds to the RB protein and displaces the E2F transcription factors that are normally sequestered by RB, promoting progression through the cell cycle. ये आप लोगों को याद होगा आरबी जीन के, जब मैंने आप लोगों को बताया था mechanism of action, it is a tumor suppressor gene. Its normal function is that it is bound to E2F when it is hypophosphorylated or in active state. But when it is in inactivated state or hyperphosphorylated, what happens? It releases E2F. When it releases E2F, proliferation starts. So when E7 will inhibit RB or inactivate RB, it means that E2F will be free. When E2F is free, it is a transcription factor. It's going to cause more transcription, more formation of protein, ultimately more cell division. E7 also activates CD kinase inhibitors P21 and P27. और फिर ये CD kinase inhibitors क्या करेंगे? They will increase CD kinase 4 and cyclin D. जब inhibitors of CD kinase जो हैं they will be increased, तो क्या होगा कि CD kinase जो है वो ज़्यादा हो जाएगी और cyclin D भी at the same time. और इनका भी further function यही है कि वो inhibit करते हैं RB को. जिन लोगों को ये याद है वहाँ से ट्यूमर सप्रेसर जीन से, उनके लिए तो बहुत अच्छी बात है, और जिनको नहीं याद वो वाला चैप्टर, वो वाला जो टॉपिक है वो खोल के उसको दोबारा चेक कर लें. All these factors lead to immortalization, increased cell proliferation, and genomic instability. These all are the hallmarks of malignancy. So this is how it actually clinically looks. Cervix gotten infected by human papillomavirus. It is also a sexually transmitted disease, just like human T-cell leukemia lymphoma. So the infected basal cells, after weeks of viral replication, human papillomavirus will be present in the epithelial cells. It can also remain dormant or latent in the cervix for several years, many years, after which time it can develop into invasive carcinoma. So the overall scenario comes out to be that high-risk human papilloma virus types express oncogenic proteins that inactivate tumor suppressors, activate cyclins, inhibit apoptosis, and combat cellular senescence. And the role of human papilloma virus in implication of cervical cancer is exhibited through effectiveness of HPV vaccines in preventing cervical cancer. जब से ये वैक्सीन आई हैं अमेरिका में इसका इंसिडेंस बहुत कम हो गया, अलॉन्ग विद द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ एंड implication of screening for cervical cancer every year for every woman of reproductive age. However, there is one loophole in the whole scenario that infection with human papilloma virus itself is not sufficient for carcinogenesis. There are several cofactors which have to be there in order to cause carcinogenesis because every woman does not develop cervical cancer as a result of human papilloma virus infection. Some women do escape this scenario of carcinogenesis. And what are the cofactors that are involved? First of all is genetic factors. For example, in lab experiments, they have shown that infecting the cells of experimental animals with human papilloma virus type 16, 18, and 31. They did did develop some of the hallmarks of malignancy, for example, immortality, but tumors did not develop. So they concluded that there has to be other factors which are also important for the development of cancer. And one of the experiments then showed that RAS mutations. RAS, if you remember, it is also an oncogene. The experiment showed that mutated RAS was one of the cofactors in developing carcinogenesis. Then cigarette smoking has shown to be a very important cofactor for causing cervical carcinoma in the patients of human papilloma virus infection. Then co-infections, for example, uh, different coexisting microbial infections have a role in the development of carcinogenesis because they lower the immune system of the patient. Then dietary deficiencies are also considered as an important cofactor along with the hormonal changes. Co-infections में आप लोग HIV की एग्जाम्पल दे सकते हैं बिकॉज इट इज स्टेट जो कि सबको याद भी रहेगी कि इसमें इम्यूनो सप्रेशन होती है और HIV के जो पेशेंट्स होते हैं फीमेल पेशेंट्स दे हैव ए हायर चांस ऑफ डेवलपिंग cervical carcinoma as a result of HPV infection. Okay, these pictures are showing you different warts as a result of human papilloma virus infections. तो ये कैंसर नहीं है, ये these are warts or benign tumors, benign squamous papillomas, because they are present on the skin, the keratinized squamous epithelium, so they are benign squamous papillomas. Papilloma is any finger-like projection that is raised above the level of the epithelium. These are benign squamous papillomas, commonly known as warts. These are caused by low risk human papilloma virus infections. इसमें भी क्योंकि proliferation तो cells की हो रही है, तो इसमें भी जो oncogenes हैं, they are going to be present. उनके बगैर ये uncontrolled proliferation नहीं हो सकती और ट्यूमर से प्रेजेंट जीन्स भी इसमें कुछ ना कुछ इन्वॉल्व होंगी, लेकिन जो एडिशनल म्यूटेशंस हैं विच मेक सेल मैलिग्नेंट इन नेचर वो इसमें नहीं प्रेजेंट होती. These are the pictures of cervix which has developed carcinoma. ये आप लोग देख सकते हैं कितना. Next is Epstein-Barr virus, which is another DNA virus which causes malignancies. Epstein-Barr virus is implicated in the pathogenesis of several human tumors. For example, African form of Burkitt lymphoma, These individuals, a subset of Hodgkin's lymphoma, nasopharyngeal carcinoma, and gastric carcinoma. The most important ones are the nasopharyngeal carcinoma and B cell tumors, B cell carcinomas. B cell carcinomas दो हैं. One is African form of Burkitt lymphoma and the other is B cell lymphoma in immunosuppressed individuals. ये दोनों जो हैं they are इनमें बेसिकली बी सेल्स जो हैं वो प्रोलिफरेट होने हैं और नेजोफेरेंजियल जो है ये सबसे ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है. तो ये तीन जो हैं दे आर मोर इम्पोर्टेंट एज कम्पेयर टू दी अदर टू. और बाकी के जो दो हैं गैस्ट्रिक भी नहीं है अभी आपकी बुक में, आप लोग फोर्थ ईयर में पढ़ेंगे जाके. So first we will discuss the general sequence of events in Epstein-Barr virus infection leading to carcinogenesis, okay, which is common in almost all types of cancers. Epstein-Barr virus B lymphocytes B lymphocytes and epithelial cells of oropharynx. Okay. And this virus uses complement receptor and CD21 to attach to B cells. ठीक है जी, दो रिसेप्टर्स इन्होंने यूज करने हैं. वन इज दी कॉम्प्लीमेंट रिसेप्टर एंड द अदर इज CD21. ऐड नहीं आना बीच में. CD21 is actually a complement receptor which is used by this virus to attach to B cell. And infection of B cells is latent mostly because there is no viral replication and the cells are not killed. However, these B cells latently infected with Epstein-Barr virus express viral proteins that result in the ability to propagate indefinitely in vitro. The molecular basis of B cell proliferation induced by Epstein-Barr virus is complex, but as with other viruses, it involves hijacking of several normal signaling pathways. ठीक है जी, स्टार्ट में ये इसको इन्फेक्ट करेगा बी सेल्स को थ्रू CD21 और ये इन्फेक्शन जो है ये लेटेंट होगी. बिल्कुल स्टार्ट में जो है ये जो लिम्फोसाइट्स हैं या एपिथेलियल सेल्स हैं ये रेप्लिकेशन इनकी स्टार्ट नहीं हो जाएगी फौरन ही, बल्कि द वायरस विल रिमेन हिडन इन दी सेल्स. लेकिन वो अपनी प्रोटीन्स जो है वो फिर आहिस्ता आहिस्ता उनको एक्सप्रेस करना शुरू कर देगा और सिग्नलिंग पाथवेज के ऊपर पहले कंट्रोल लेगा और उसके बाद फिर उसकी क्लोनल प्रोलिफरेशन स्टार्ट हो जाएगी जो फर्स्ट मैलिग्नेंट सेल बनेगा. The two important oncogenes implicated in the pathogenicity are LMP1 and EBNA2. जो LMP1 है, it acts as an oncogene in that its expression is its expression induces B cell lymphomas in transgenic mice. ठीक है, oncogene का मतलब यही होगा ना कि oncogene है, इसका मतलब है it's going to cause constitutive activation of the signal transduction pathways और उनकी वजह से फिर सेल डिवीजन जो है वो स्पीड अप हो जाती है. ठीक है, एक्टिवेट कर देती है वो सारे पाथवेज को जो सेल डिवीजन में इन्वॉल्व है. Okay, now what are the major functions of LMP1 in the B lymphocytes? It behaves like a constitutively active CD40 receptor. CD40 receptor क्या है? It is a key recipient of helper T cell signals that stimulate B cell growth. Next is that it activates NF-kappa B and JAK-STAT signaling pathways and promotes B cell survival and proliferation, all of which occur autonomously. That is without T cells or other outside signals in Epstein-Barr infected B cells. ठीक है जी, ये JAK-STAT pathway जो NF-kappa B pathway हैं, इन दोनों का भी यही रोल है कि they are also signal transduction pathways और इनकी जब एक्टिवेशन हो जाएगी, और कॉन्स्टिट्यूटिव एक्टिवेशन का मतलब है कि विच इज़ नॉट डिपेंडेंट ऑन एनी एक्सटर्नल सिग्नल, so they are going to be firing of the signals of proliferation, um, continuous firing of those signals. And CD40 receptor जो है, it is a receptor which is present on B cells, and it requires T cell stimulation to get activated. But in this case, when LMP1 takes hold of the B cell, this CD40 receptor is also constitutively active without any participation of T cells. इन दोनों के एक्टिव होने से क्या होगा? देयर विल बी अनलिमिटेड बी सेल proliferation. And next is activation of BCL2 to inhibit apoptosis. तो apoptosis खत्म हो गया और unlimited proliferation start हो गई. Next gene involved is EBNA2. EBNA2 क्या करती है? It encodes a nuclear protein that mimics a constitutively active Notch receptor. अब Notch receptor जो है, it is again an other oncogene. EBNA2 transactivates several host genes including cyclin D and SRC family of proto-oncogenes. In addition, the Epstein-Barr virus genome contains a gene encoding a viral cytokine, interleukin 10. ठीक है, तो इसने नॉच रिसेप्टर को और साइक्लिन डी को एक्टिवेट कर दिया, और नेक्स्ट काम इसने क्या करना है कि इंटरल्यूकिन 10 जो है, विच इज ए वायरल साइटोकाइन, इसको इसने एक्टिवेट कर दिया है. This viral cytokine can prevent macrophages and monocytes from activating T cells and is required for Epstein-Barr virus dependent transformation of B cells. ठीक है जी, अब T cells अगर एक्टिवेट नहीं होंगे तो वो इम्यूनिटी को सप्रेस कर देगी चीज. एंड सेकेंड बात जो है कि इट इज रिक्वायर्ड फॉर Epstein-Barr virus dependent transformation of B cells. तो जब ये साइटोकाइन प्रेजेंट होगा तो बी सेल्स की जो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन है इनटू मैलिग्नेंट सेल्स, वो उसको ये मीडिएट करेगा. ओके जी, अब ये था एक कॉमन सिनेरियो और सीक्वेंस ऑफ इवेंट्स व्हिच हैपेंस विद ऑलमोस्ट ऑल द Epstein-Barr virus related ट्यूमर्स. ठीक है, मतलब बेसिकली दो ही चीजें हमने इसमें पढ़ी हैं कि इसमें LMP1 और EBNA2 का क्या रोल है इन कार्सिनोजेनेसिस ऑफ बी सेल्स. यही दो चीजें आप लोगों ने याद रखनी है इस पूरे पोर्शन में से. नेक्स्ट इज इंडिविजुअल जो कार्सिनोमास है. फर्स्ट इज अफ्रीकन बर्किट लिम्फोमा. नाउ बर्किट लिम्फोमा इज ए lymphoma. Lymphoma means that lymphocytes or the lymph nodes, solid organs where lymphocytes are present, they are proliferating. Okay, so B lymphocytes in the solid organs, for example spleen, lymph nodes और लिवर है, सब जगहों पर बर्किट लिम्फोमा हो सकता है, या जितने भी हमारे लिम्फ नोड्स हैं. तो बर्किट लिम्फोमा जो है ये पूरी दुनिया में होता है, लेकिन जो अफ्रीका में बर्किट लिम्फोमा होता है, which is endemic in Central Africa and New Guinea, that is related to Epstein-Barr virus. वर्ल्ड वाइड जो बाकी के जगहों पर ये बर्किट लिम्फोमा होता है, इट इज नॉट रिलेटेड टू Epstein-Barr virus. इसीलिए इसको हम कह रहे हैं अफ्रीकन बर्किट लिम्फोमा. और ये लिखना इम्पॉर्टेंट है आप लोगों के, जब आप डिफरेंट, अगर आप लोगों को क्वेश्चन, क्योंकि ये कॉमनली क्वेश्चन आता है कि नेम डिफरेंट मैलिग्नेंसीज दैट आर कॉज्ड बाय Epstein-Barr virus. 4-5 मैंने आप लोगों को बताई हैं अभी. उसमें से अगर आपने खाली बर्किट लिम्फोमा लिखेंगे तो मे बी उसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन मार्क लगते हैं, लेकिन अगर आप लोग अफ्रीकन बर्किट लिम्फोमा लिखेंगे तो फिर आप लोगों को फुल क्रेडिट मिलेगा. अब डिफरेंस क्या है दोनों में, अफ्रीकन बर्किट में और वर्ल्ड वाइड बाकी जो पर बर्किट लिम्फोमा है उसमें। उसके लिए हमें ये अंडरस्टैंड करना है कि व्हाट इज द एसोसिएशन बिटवीन एंडेमिक Burkitt lymphoma or African Burkitt lymphoma and Epstein-Barr virus. Now, the association between these two is very strong. For example, more than 90% of African tumors carry the Epstein-Barr virus genome. Secondly, 100% of the patients have elevated antibody titers against viral capsid antigens. And third is that serum antibody titers against viral antigens are risk of developing the tumors. Now we know that Epstein-Barr virus is intimately involved in the causation of Burkitt lymphoma in African countries, but several observations suggest that additional factors are also involved. So these are also the factors that oppose its implication in the causing of Burkitt lymphoma. First is that um, Epstein-Barr virus infection is not limited to the geographic locales where Burkitt lymphoma is found. In fact, it is ubiquitous virus that infects almost all humans worldwide. इसको सिर्फ अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज में क्यों लिमिट कर रहे हैं एप्स्टेन बार वायरस को इन दी कॉजेशन ऑफ बर्किट लिम्फोमा, जबकि जो एप्स्टेन बार वायरस है इट इज प्रेजेंट थ्रू आउट द वर्ल्ड, हर जगह प्रेजेंट होता है। और लेकिन ये बर्किट लिम्फोमा के साथ सिर्फ अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज में ही एसोसिएटेड है और बाकी जगहों पर नहीं है। The Epstein-Barr virus genome is found in only 15 to 20% of sufferers of Burkitt lymphoma outside Africa. There are significant differences in the patterns of viral gene expression in Epstein-Barr virus transformed B cell lines and Burkitt lymphoma cells. Burkitt lymphoma cells do not express LMP1, EBNA2, and other Epstein-Barr virus proteins that drive B cell growth and immortalization. तो इतने ज़्यादा questions के बाद it is important to know how Epstein-Barr virus contributes to the genesis of endemic Burkitt lymphoma. अब ये एक theory है which is related to malaria, that the uh, regions of the world where Burkitt lymphoma is endemic, concomitant infections such as malaria impair immune competence, allowing sustained B cell proliferation. Eventually, B cell immunity directed against Epstein-Barr virus antigens such as EBNA2 and LMP1 eliminates most of the Epstein-Barr virus infected B cells, but a small number of cells downregulate expression of these immunogenic antigens. These cells persist indefinitely even in the face of normal immunity. Lymphoma cells may emerge from this population only with the acquisition of specific mutations, most notably translocations that activate the MEK oncogene. ठीक है जी, इसमें ये क्या कह रहा है कि the malaria is also endemic in the region where Burkitt lymphoma is endemic. So their theory is that um, malaria has already impaired immune competence, and as a result, there is sustained B cell proliferation. And what will happen that T cell immunity will be activated. Now the B cell proliferation, the B cell population which has increased as a result of malarial infection, those B cells will be attacked by the T cell immunity, and those T cells will eliminate most of the B cells that have the expression of EBNA2 and LMP1. Only those will remain which have downregulated expression of these immunogenic antigens for the time being. Later on, when they start to proliferate, then they will again start to express these antigens to a more level. And there is also implication of MEK oncogene in this process, that MEK oncogene is also activated as a result of all this scenario. So there is the diagrammatic explanation. Epstein-Barr virus has infected all these cells. These are all B cells which have been infected by Epstein-Barr virus. One group of the cells has been killed by cytotoxic T lymphocytes. And the other group who has survived, they have survived because they had downregulated the expression of the LMP1 and EBNA2 antigens. They will develop a mutation which is MYC translocation. Now, what is this MYC translocation? It is translocation of uh, a gene locus from chromosome number 8 to chromosome number 14, giving rise to 814 translocation. MYC oncogene यहाँ पे बन जाती है, which MYC oncogene क्या है? It is again an oncogene है. इसलिए क्या कराएगी? Proliferation कराएगी cells की. और सिर्फ MYC oncogene नहीं बल्कि कुछ additional mutations भी होनी चाहिए before the neoplasm is going to develop. सारा फिर proliferation हो के Burkitt lymphoma यहाँ पे बन जाए. ये MYC oncogene हम लोगों ने पहले पढ़ी थी जब हम oncogenes पढ़ रहे थे. Non-tyrosine receptor, non-receptor tyrosine kinases के साथ ही हमने MYC oncogene भी पढ़ी थी. It is also a non-receptor. ये MYC oncogene है on chromosome number 8. ये चली जाती है at the place where immunoglobulin G is present. तो यहाँ पर ये MYC fusion oncogene बन जाती है. इस वजह से क्या होता है कि MYC जो प्रोटीन है उसकी बहुत ज़्यादा proliferation स्टार्ट होती है, बहुत ज़्यादा increase expression हो जाती है. This is a Burkitt's lymphoma. ये इसका जो यहाँ पे lymph node है उसके अंदर enlargement हुई है या कैंसर हुआ है. In conclusion, Epstein-Barr virus is not directly oncogenic, but by acting as a polyclonal B-cell mitogen, it sets the stage for the acquisition of 814 translocation and other mutations that ultimately produce a full-blown cancer. Okay, this is the scenario for African Burkitt lymphoma. There, they are still doubtful that Epstein-Barr virus is the causative agent of this African Burkitt lymphoma or not. तो उन्होंने कंक्लूजन ये निकाला है कि by acting as a polyclonal B-cell mitogen, it sets the stage for the acquisition of 814 translocation and other mutations that ultimately produce a full-blown cancer. Now, what about B-cell lymphomas in immunocompromised individuals? ये दूसरा सेट है B-cell lymphomas का, which is more important in the list of cancers that are caused by Epstein-Barr virus. Major sites involved are extranodal tissues, for example, gut, central nervous system, and the proliferation is polyclonal at first and later it evolves into a monoclonal form. These cells uniformly express LMP1 and EBNA2 as opposed to the cells of the Burkitt lymphoma. उनके अंदर इसकी expression बहुत low होता है. Usually lack MYC translocations. इसमें नहीं होती, वो सिर्फ Burkitt lymphoma में होती है MYC oncogene. And they are usually lethal. But the people who have strong immunity, they do survive this type of neoplasm. Okay, next category is nasopharyngeal carcinoma. These are also caused by Epstein-Barr virus. They are endemic in southern China, in some parts of Africa, and in the small population of Arctic. Yeah. Now, 100% of nasopharyngeal carcinomas obtained from all parts of the world contain Epstein-Barr virus. So there is no doubt that it is caused by Epstein-Barr virus or not. And the virus shows clonal proliferation. Antibody titers against the virus are greatly elevated. LMP1 is expressed, इसमें दोनों की expression होती है LMP1 and EBNA2. And what it does, ये हम already पढ़ चुके हैं वैसे, ये NF kappa B को भी activate करती है along with इसके जो 3 functions हमने पढ़े थे वो क्या थे? एक तो CD40 receptor को constitutively activate कर देती है, which is important for B cell proliferation. Then NF kappa B को activate करती है, JAK-STAT signaling pathway को activate करती है, and number 4 कि ये BCL2 को एक्टिवेट कर देती है, उसकी वजह से एपोप्टोसिस को प्रिवेंट हो जाता है। ठीक है, अब NF कापा बी क्या करता है, अप रेगुलेट्स वास्कुलर एंडोथेलियल ग्रोथ फैक्टर, फाइब्रोब्लास्ट ग्रोथ फैक्टर 2, मैट्रिक्स मेटालोप्रोटीनेज 9 एंड COX-2। ये इन सब चीजों को अप रेगुलेट करता है, जिसकी वजह से प्रोलिफरेशन होती है सेल्स की। और इन इन चीजों का रोल जो है वो एंजियोजेनेसिस में और मेटास्टेसिस में हम लोगों ने पढ़ा हुआ है। So this is how nasopharyngeal carcinoma develops due to Epstein-Barr virus. This was all for today's lecture. I hope you have understood and I hope you are listening. If you have any questions, you can ask. सब समझ आ गया आप लोगों को? कुछ समझ नहीं आया? How do cells downregulate the expression? बच्चों ये बहुत ही बेसिक क्वेश्चन है जो आप लोगों ने बहुत शुरू में मैंने आप लोगों को बताया था। डाउन रेगुलेशन का क्या मतलब है? म्यूटेशंस दो तरह की होती हैं। सेल्स के अंदर कोई हाथ नहीं उनके लगे हुए जिन्होंने जाके नलका बंद कर देना है या नलका खोल देना है। ठीक है, सेल्स के अंदर क्या हो रहा है? म्यूटेशंस हो रही है। क्योंकि हमने पढ़ा है कि नियोप्लेजिया की डेफिनेशन में ही हमने ये पढ़ा है कि इट इज अ सीरीज ऑफ म्यूटेशंस व्हिच आर, और म्यूटेशन क्या है? नॉन लीथल जेनेटिक डैमेज व्हिच इज ट्रांसफरेबल टू प्रोजेनी सेल्स। अब जो म्यूटेशंस होती हैं उनका एक्सप्रेशन होता है। म्यूटेशन कोई हुई है तो उसका इफेक्ट भी तो होगा ना। अब इफेक्ट उसका दो तरह का हो सकता है। वन इज अप रेगुलेशन और गेन ऑफ फंक्शन म्यूटेशन, एंड सेकेंड इज लॉस ऑफ फंक्शन म्यूटेशन। ठीक है, अब ये दोनों क्या है? गेन ऑफ फंक्शन म्यूटेशन क्या होती है? गेन ऑफ फंक्शन म्यूटेशन का मतलब है कि जो काम वो जीन पहले कर रही थी, अब उस काम ने मल्टीप्लाई हो जाना है, उसने बहुत ज्यादा हो जाना है। वो दो तरह से हो सकता है, या तो जो जीन है उसका एक्सप्रेशन इंक्रीज हो जाए, या नंबर टू कि वो जीन जो है वो मल्टीप्लाई हो जाए, कि वो जीन की कॉपी ज्यादा बननी शुरू हो जाए। अगर एक जीन बन रही थी तो अब 100 जीन्स बननी शुरू हो जाए, और अदरवाइज अगर वो एक ही जीन बन रही थी तो वो काम 100 जीन्स का करना शुरू हो जाए। इस तरह वो अप रेगुलेट हो जाता है, और या फिर उसको कहते हैं गेन ऑफ फंक्शन म्यूटेशन। ये सेल्स ने नहीं करना होता, ये उन म्यूटेशन का कैरेक्टरिस्टिक है। एज अ रिजल्ट ऑफ दैट म्यूटेशन इट हैपेंस इन द सेल। और वो म्यूटेशन ने करना क्या होता है? प्रोटीन उसने बनानी होती है ना। अब वो जो म्यूटेशन हुई है उसकी वजह से ज्यादा प्रोटीन बनना शुरू हो जाएगी, या फिर अ, या फिर नंबर टू क्या होगा कि वो जीन ही इतनी ज्यादा हो जाएगी कि वो ज्यादा प्रोटीन बनानी शुरू कर देगी। और लॉस ऑफ फंक्शन में इसके ऑपोजिट हो जाएंगी सारी चीजें। आई होप नाउ योर कॉन्सेप्ट इज क्लियर। नो प्रॉब्लम। Okay, if you are done with questions, I want to say you goodbye. See you after Eid, inshallah. Have good time at your homes. Please don't go anywhere. Allah Hafiz.